to another episode of the Next Fix podcast. We're here again talking about brighter futures after rock bottom moments, dealing with people that are familiar with what it looks like to maybe have lost control with substance use. And, we're gonna focus on the brighter future, but as we typically do, we start with kind of the darker past, right? To kind of gain familiarity for all of us out there that are more than familiar with rock bottom moments. And today I've got this young lady, Jennifer Alai. What a magnificent last name for a person in helping people with recovery and sobriety. She is an ally, and I think the name fits the mold, if you will. So, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Right. And so, without much of an introduction, we usually dive in. Everybody's dying to know. I want to know because it's going to be hitting my ears first, just like the audience. We want to know, how did the train get off the tracks, and what did it look like in the moments in your life when you started thinking like, okay, I need to make a move. Things are looking bleak. Let us know what that looked like. Paint a picture for us.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, just a little background as well. So, I really was not a drinker until in my 30s. My childhood was great. A two-parent household. I had a brother. We went to church, youth group, Sunday school. But I had always had like this anxiety ever since I could remember, like little, like almost like crippling at times, especially social anxiety. There was a lot of bullying at school, and I really wasn't comfortable, in any sort of setting unless I was around like my family, of course. So I always had that, never really dealt with it properly. Looking back now, though, when I did turn 21, I did drink a little bit. Okay. But
okay.
So it wasn't like I never drank until then, but when I look back now, like when I would go out and drink, it wouldn't just be one, it'd be more than that. And like, if I was with my boyfriend at the time or my brother, like they would have to stay like sober because I loved the feeling, it was like, wow, like I can relax. I can feel like good in the social settings. I was fun. I was, so I fell in love with the feeling. Right. So, but it didn't really last. So, that only lasted a little while, and it didn't interfere with anything. It wasn't like an everyday event. So let me like get some clarity here. Like teenage years, it wasn't much of an issue, and now you're 21, and there's hints of an issue, but you're going out was still rather social. However, looking back now, right, you can see like, okay, yeah, two turned into 10, and next thing you know, they're scooping me up off the floor or they're pulling me off a stage, and so exactly
those times they're a little bit more spread out, right? So there's no real like alarms going off. You're just when you did go out, it was problematic for the people around you.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So then we're in our early 20s here, and so then where does it go from there?
Oh, from there, now I grew up in New Jersey, so from there it goes to I get married at 24 and move up to Pennsylvania because that's where my husband was from. And he had an established like career going. So I move up here away from everybody, I knew family, friends, but it's okay. I mean, I'm dealing with it kind of in other ways, like until I got a job, I was kind of like eating a lot and doing things like that to cope. So anyway, life goes on. I have a job. So that was 98 when I got married, and I was 24. So then in 2001, I had my daughter, and we, after about 2 years, we were living like renting. We built a house, moved to another town, and so life's going on. I'm working at a major hospital, in like supervisory roles, and life's just getting stressful. Like there's issues starting in the marriage. Okay. You know, like, I mean, a lot of people have, maybe mine was a little more severe than others. And again, you know, with a baby and I'm not around family to help, and she was, you know, colicky, and so like pressures were coming. My parents were starting a divorce, you know, and I was trying to be there for my mother, you know, who was far away. And so how that happened then was we started going out to these wine fests with the neighbors, like a social thing. Okay, so again, to this point, I haven't drank since I was like 24. So, you know, now I'm in my early 30s. And at first I didn't even like it, the taste, but I remembered that feeling again, you know, like, right. Wow, you know, this is great. You know, I can just forget everything that's going on. It's numbing me. But it was a very slow progression, though. Okay, like this happened probably over a period of at least a good 5 to 7 years. So, wow. So the alcohol is involved now, and again, for a few years, it's not really a big deal. But as like the marriage is getting, you know, it's getting worse, and just other things. It's not just that, but, you know, I was just going through a lot, you know, and everybody was like relying on me, the job, you know, my family, everybody, you know. So little did they know, now I'm going home and I'm like in the closet drinking, you know, bottles of vodka.
Wow. Wow.
You know, where everybody's like, oh, look at her. She's got the house, the daughter, the great job, you know, she's there. But inside I was a mess, you know. And
so like that's how severe it was at this juncture, right?
Yes.
Like, because I've been there, I get it. It's like the empty bottles like all over these tiny little cubbies or underneath that damn sink or whatever, right? Like, you know, but that's you know, obviously a serious marker of a serious problem. It's like you're doing it alone and you're hiding it, and then you're clearly not doing it because of anything but the feeling. You're not doing it because it tastes good. You're not doing it because, and so was it wine, or was it like grain alcohol, or?
Well, like I said, it started with the wine, and then it started with, I was going across the street to my neighbors when I would get home from work. You know, I would get home first, and we were starting to drink harder stuff, scotch she was making me, you know, and I was into the heavier stuff then, the gin, the scotch, those things. And at that point, that's what it needed to be, because the wine just wasn't doing it anymore, you know, for me, because I was getting so, you know, addicted, and my body was getting so, little did I know, you know, I mean, because again, it's so sneaky and it's so progressive that before you, like you said, I'm hiding bottles now. I'm drinking before we go out, so that like when I do go out, they think that I just had two, you know, again, I'm trying to hide it.
Right.
I already had a couple. So we're talking vodka pretty much. It goes straight then, pretty much vodka.
Yeah. Right.
And then that's what I'm doing. I'm hiding it. I'm hiding the bottles. I'm starting to pass out, you know, my daughter's finding me, you know, like in the bathroom, or I was working from home a couple of days a week, and I was on a meeting, and I guess I just blacked out, and they called my husband, and he had to come home to see what was going on with me. And that's how bad it was. You know, I'm definitely a blackout drinker. So, you know, and I'm forgetting where I put the bottles because I'm hiding them. Right. And then,
of course,
and then I'm like collecting all the empty ones and going to the store to get rid of them, you know, so that, again, my husband is not aware of how much I'm drinking.
Yeah.
And their bottles are hidden everywhere, like you said, all over the house. You know, I just remember being in the car at one time, you know, with my daughter, and she realized it, you know, and I pulled over, and my father-in-law had to come pick her up. So fast forward to like, okay, now we're in 2016, and the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. It's starting to get, I can't hide it anymore. You know, like everybody's on to me, my parents, my husband. So I try AA. Okay. And therapy. I'm just going because they wanted me to go. Okay. I have bottles with me in the truck. You know, I'm drinking before I go in. I'm bringing them into the therapy because I'm afraid my husband's going to drive by and look in my truck. I'm so paranoid. So they're in
Wow.
with me in therapy. And yeah, it's so bad. And it got to the point at work where I had to go at lunch and park somewhere and do a few shots just to get through the afternoon, you know, and I'm drinking in the morning. The bottle's underneath the mattress because I have to wake up in the middle of the night and drink just to go back to sleep.
Right.
So AA, that's not working. The therapy's not working. It wasn't the best therapist. They weren't like a drug and alcohol therapist, and he just didn't get it, you know, so there was a lot of stigma.
And it's not that it's not working, but you're not, you what it sounds like to me, you know, what it seems like you're not giving anything a chance, which is, you know, I get it. I understand. I was the same way. Like, it's like, you're not ready, but you're under the pressure from the husband and the other people, like all these people outside. So you're like, all right, well, I'll try to shut them up, you know, and I'll go, you know, but the effort clearly isn't there. It's just like, okay, how do I manage to keep the machine running? Which is like, you know, put it in your purse and put it, you know, man, it's so wild. You're bringing me back to like all of like the crazy, you know, what I call like creative ways that I, you know, but I honestly, let me ask you this. Was your husband aware? Like, you know, you think you're fooling him, but like, was he aware? And like, you know, he's just like, shit, you know, like, here we are, another bottle, you know, like what people were finding out. Am I right?
Yes. So they're finding out how severe it is. And so same year, 2016. So now like we're into like April, and I'm at therapy, and I mentioned something about not wanting to live. So now they have to report that. So somebody comes to my house and does like an interview with me. And of course I had been drinking, you know, pretty much all day. So ends up they get on the phone with a rehab number. And next thing you know, the next morning I'm flying, they're taking me and I'm flying to Florida to my first rehab. They gave me $20, of course, you know, no credit cards because I had to change in Atlanta and they didn't want me fleeing. So of course I got $20 when I got to Atlanta. I went to the bar, you know, and had,
of course, you
know, vodka. So we go to that. I go to that rehab again. I'm going because everybody wants me to go. You know, I'm not ready. I don't want to be there. So I stay there the 30 days. I went into like a sober living for like a couple weeks, and I'm like done. Now everybody back home is thinking like I'm good. You know, well, I'm on the plane. I'm drinking on the way back. I'm drinking at the airport. You know. So by the end of that summer of 2016, I end up like separating from my husband. I had met somebody else, you know, of course I'm drinking. So I go move in with him. He's now my husband. And now this problem gets thrown on him. And at this point, my daughter too has now like, and rightfully so, because she's 14, it said, I can't do this anymore. You know, like it's too toxic. You know, for me, Mom, I love you. You were the best mom for like 13 years. But right now it's too much. So, and of course it ripped my heart out. But, you know, looking back, that was pretty mature of her because it was chaos living with me, you know, and this stuff I was doing. So I'm dealing with all that. And I go to another rehab. So anyway, over the next like 3 years, okay, I'm going in and out of rehabs. I went to 5. I'm going in and out of hospitals now. I'm getting pancreatitis, worst pain ever in my life.
Right.
Do you think that would stop me just for a few months? But then as soon as the pain went away, we're like, I mean, I think most of us, you know, we get scared for a while if we're feeling something, and then we start feeling better and it's game on again, you know?
Yeah. And that pain, I mean, just so everybody knows, like I 100% thought I was gonna die. Like, I mean, I'm like, this is it. And they were telling me, they're like, no, you just have pancreatitis. I'm like, I am dying. Like I felt the end was there. And so when you got severe pancreatitis, there's very little that I felt in my life that is excruciating as that. And so, I understand. Hey, but that didn't stop me, just like you had mentioned. You're dead on. I'm right there with you. I'm tracking. So you're getting pancreatitis,
right.
and all the writing is on the wall.
Right. All the writing's on the wall now. You know, my husband, who I'm with now, he's dealing with this, taking me to rehabs, taking me in and out of hospitals. I want to mention too, because this is a big deal for me, is the stigma. You know, because I was not treated the best when I would go into the hospital with you know a bunch like whatever alcohol poisoning and need to be detoxed. So another part of the story is I tried to do it by myself at home. And well, that didn't work out so great because I ended up seeing people. I'm talking to people that aren't there. I'm smelling food they're cooking. Okay. And I'm shaking so bad I can't even feed myself. And I mean, it was so bizarre. Like I thought I had I didn't know what I had. I had like one thing going on in one ear, like a music. And then in the other ear, I had like a Yankee game going on. It was, and I remember this because it was so bad. So he throws me in the car back to the hospital. And that, of course, then they're like, don't ever do that. You could die from, you know, withdrawing, and you can. So everybody knows that you can die.
Right. And that's, and again, just, you know, I hate to keep interjecting, but I'm so familiar. I'm so familiar with the hallucinations that I got diagnosed with schizophrenia. Because the hallucinations were so real to me. And of course, when I'm communicating that, I'm communicating it as being a reality for me because I saw the damn people I was having. In fact, I brought cash to a neighbor's house and I left like a couple $100 like on the porch. And it's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, that was for this fictitious person. So like I'm right there with you. And man, I think you and I have that's the highest level of withdrawal, the highest level. Did you have seizures?
Yeah.
Did you have seizures?
Yeah, right. I had a little bit of them. Yep. I had tremors and it was bad. I was in the hospital then for 2 weeks and they weren't even sure. Like I was awake, but I don't even remember it too much, but I was awake, but like I wasn't really there, you know, and they weren't sure if I was when I came out of this, what was going to be left. You know, really. And thank God, you know, thank God, really, you know, that I did come out of that. And so that was another very, very low point. It still wasn't enough. So we'll get to like, now we're in 2019 and here's like the beginning of the rock bottom for me. It's February. I'm heading down to see my parents in New Jersey. Of course, I already had some drinks. You know, and I stop at a store on the way down because I see something on Facebook that disturbs me. And of course, you know, what I do is I have to go drink over it. So I stop, I get some stuff halfway down thinking, okay, I'll drink this when I get to my mom's, somehow get it snuck in there. Well, I didn't. So I ended up drinking it in the car. Now somebody calls, I'm on the Parkway in New Jersey, and somebody calls, they think I'm having a medical emergency because I'm apparently driving really slow. So the state troopers get behind me. That's the last thing I remember. And next thing you know, we're on a 34-minute chase. I take them. But
I mean, you're going slow, but they can't do much, right? Like, so you're not stopping and you're just,
yes.
Right. And you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Right.
I'm going on and off the Parkway. I'm going through a circle. I ran over a sign. They did have me stopped a few times, and I rammed the police car to get out. So by the time they finally did get me, they weren't happy with me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So then apparently, because the next day I went to get my car out of the place, the impound. And I said to my dad, why don't I have a driver's side window? He's like, because you wouldn't get out. I locked the doors. They had to smash the window. I don't remember any of this. That's the scariest part. The driving.
Wow.
They threw me down, of course. You know, my dad came and got me, you know, later that night. And then a few days later, I was on my way to my lawyer and they called me back in the station and they told my dad, go home. She's going into jail. So I went into jail for a night. Until the judge could see the case or whatever. And then I was released and came back up here to Pennsylvania. Well, I didn't stop. I kept going. And that was February. And now I'm looking at 1 to 5 years prison, paying $10,000 to a lawyer, you know, that a friend had, given me. And so it's April now, a couple of months later, and I'm in the hospital like 2 weeks in a row from drinking and like taking some of my psychiatric meds. And they think I'm trying to kill myself, but I just kept forgetting.
Yeah.
So this time, though, somebody came and talked to me, a peer specialist. She came and sat on the bed the second time I was in because I didn't want to hear her the week before. And I was just so amazed that she came back because I wasn't that very nice to her. And she sat and talked to me like a human. And she's like you said, she's saying things. I'm like, wow, like she gets it. Like she's been through it. She was in jail.
Right.
She went through all this. And look at her now. She's sitting here helping me, and she's not talking to me like I'm some horrible person, And it just clicked. And she's like, listen, I know a good rehab. When you get back, contact me. There's not a lot of strong women in recovery here, and we'll get you going to meetings. So it was funny because this rehab I ended up going to changed a lot since she knew, and it was not good at all. It was like no staff. But I was adamant because I was ready now this time. I'm like, this is it. Sick and tired of it. I want my daughter back. I want my life back, And so I'm telling them at the rehab, like, listen, I need work to do. I need to save my life. Like, I'm not here to lay around and do this and that. So I really, that's when I put my mind to it. And when I do put my mind to something, I'm not like, I don't stop. I'm like here or I don't do anything. That's the problem with probably most of us.
That's a blessing. Yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
In the drinking. But plus, there is a family history, and I knew that. But anyway, so I do the rehab. I make sure I have an intensive outpatient set up as soon as I get out, and again, and, I prayed to God too. I said, listen, God, I'm sorry because I strayed away, but I am ready just to give it up. I can't do this anymore on my own because I don't really want to live anymore. This is how I have to live. Like I wasn't planning a suicide. I just would hope not to wake up, Yeah,
man, it's so wild. You're saying things. And I feel very unique, but I know that I'm not. You're probably landing in a lot of people's ears, but in mine too, right? Like, because I just said this. I was like, I didn't have like a blade to my wrist, right?
No.
But I could care less. Every time I like bought another bottle, I'm like, if this is the last one, then so be it. Like the effort to live was zero, but also my effort to like end it was like, not, I hadn't committed to ending it, but I definitely didn't care. It was like this weird indifference. Like I was just like, all right, whatever. It's a really weird and awkward void to be in,
It is. And that is like the darkest part because you don't want to be there anymore, really, but you don't know a way out. And you don't really at that point care, like you said, and I think that was just the most awful, loneliest, darkest place to be. I remember just like laying in bed and hearing people outside around me in the summer mowing lawns and doing this and having fun. And I'm just laying there like, and I have to say too, because I think this is important so people don't feel like bad either, but about certain things. But I have to admit that I was being very closely monitored as well when I moved in with who my husband is now. So I got creative with what I had to drink as well, which was not good. But if you know what I mean, like I was finding anything that had like alcohol on the label and drinking it.
Right. Yep. Which is just, it's just so bad. It's like, man, but yeah, the thoughts is like, how many times I've looked at a bottle of rubbing alcohol knowing it doesn't work. It's not the same thing. Nope. It will murder but my mind is so desperate. It's like, I'm thinking about any and every single way that I can to satisfy that. But yes, you're right. Being creative, being creative is definitely like the nicest way to put it, right? Like,
I'm surprised I didn't die because I did resort to that at times, but anyway, so there is a brighter side here. So I did get through that. I got through the outpatient. I got a job a couple of months after.
Right. So you now. you're in rehab, but this one was different because you said, I want to do the work. I don't want to just lay here. I want my daughter back. And so this is like, you said you went through like a handful in Florida, right? Like 5. So how many rehabs are we talking? Like when was like, do you know that number? Like
5.
It was the fifth one was like the last one. Okay. Got it. And so you put your foot down, you do a line in the sand.
Yes.
And then that was, and now this is back in not New Jersey. Is it New Jersey?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And so, all right. So now you've moved forward here. So you obviously got out of the rehab and then you're like, okay, need a job, right? Like that's usually first box you try to check off. So, so you got a job.
Yes.
All right. Now we're all caught up. And this is 2019, 2020?
2019 still.
2019 still. Got it.
My sober date is May 9th, 2019. And so now we're talking like June, July-ish. Okay. So I get out in June. I go right into the intensive outpatient. Great instructor there. Learned a lot from her. I went all 48 sessions. I was there. I even brought my border collie. He was like my support dog. Like I couldn't go without him. Like when I first came out, and he even got a certificate. He graduated. But yeah, and the first job I got when I came out was I lived next to an amusement park. I was working in Kittyland, but for me that was okay because I didn't want to go into anything high stress right away. I had so anyway, yes. So that worked out very well. And that took me to October, and that was finished. And in the meantime, the amusement park closed. I got a job. They have a lumber yard, so I got a job up there at the hardware store. So I'm working there and finishing out 2019, and I decide, you know what? When I decided that I was done for the last time, I promised God that I was going to go back. This is why he saved me. I'm like, I don't understand why, because I keep throwing my life away, you get me better and then I just do it again. So, and because of the stigma and how I was treated and how I resonated with that lady, I'm like, you know what, this is my thing. I finally realized what my thing is, my purpose. I'm going back in and going to pull people out. So I went back to school. I got my certified recovery specialist. So this is 2020. And I got I finished my associates. I never got to finish that when I was younger in psychology. And then I went on and got my bachelor's in addiction and recovery counseling. And I'm working full time, 50 hours, and I'm 40 something years old. So
40 something.
Sorry,
your secret is safe with me.
I'm on the cusp of turning 51,
right.
in October. But you know what? Now I guess I'm just happy for any day, any age to just be alive. And also, by the end of 19, my daughter and I had reunited. It was awesome. My court case didn't really come up until 2020, the end of September kind of 2020. And then that got resolved in 2021, September 11th. And what ended up at the final with that was that we did it on Zoom. I don't know, the whole COVID. And the judge said, well, you had a good lawyer. He goes, but you did the work. He's like, you went and that wasn't mandated that I go. And he goes, I don't see that very often. He goes, so I got a year probation. And I was looking at 1 to 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. Because they don't take kindly to trying to run them over. When I say them, I mean the police. So I could see that there. But you were proactive. You had already stacked up some sobriety days, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got a nice little runway of some sober time. And then you've also, you're active in real life, applicable education to help out. So it's it's very clear. Well, at least as clear as it can be at that time frame for a judge to say, all right, you're making an effort. So I'm not going to now it could have been the complete opposite direction had you not done all that work. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It could have been, and it really wasn't that reason that I did it, like, because I was worried about
course.
that. I just want to make that clear. Like, I didn't just, because obviously if I would have done it for that, I wouldn't have stayed sober either, because I'm looking at the most anxiety filled thing in my life, that I might be in prison and I'm staying sober, and
Right.
I just kind of resigned myself to, hey, you know what, Jen, you did it. If you end up having to go, you got to go. Like, that's just what it is. Right. I was ready, but I got a year probation.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad he took a chance on me. And so I think I'm more helpful out here, So,
Right.
and I think that was his thought too, So anyway, I did all that. And then I just finished, like I just graduated last December, finally, with the bachelor's. And so now, things are looking better, I'm feeling good. My relationships are getting repaired, and now I decide that I'm going to start my own like coaching business,
Beautiful.
to help. So,
right. That's such a noble cause. And, going back to what you had said about the fear or the, like, say, the motivation to stay out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I agree with you when you say it, like, if that's your motivation, it's not enough. Like, it's just not enough. It has got to come intrinsically. It has to be intrinsically motivated, and it has to come from within to make that decision. And so, like, everything you're saying, it's like that. It's hard to communicate to somebody who's not really familiar with recovery, because I don't think punitive measures go far at all. No. You just figure out a way to get around them. And so, like, despite you facing prison, and not just, a little stay, but serious prison on a serious offense, that wasn't you. Even now you say, like, that wasn't what kept me in there, or kept you, committed to sobriety. And so I think that I'm very familiar with that, because it just doesn't work if it's coming from outside. Mm-hmm. If it's the pressures from the other people or outside of yourself, whether it be the legal system or, it's got to be when you're ready, and it's got to be inside. And I try to stay away from saying flip the switch, because I don't think that it's instantaneous.
No,
I think it, and maybe you agree with me. I think you do, but it's like, you kind of just get fed up. You're just like, damn, like, I'm just sick of this, and then, like, I guess some people can bring it to a particular point in time, but I think you, like, much like myself, it's like, really, like another rehab, right? Really? Now I'm in jail, like, really? Yeah. like, and so, I mean, all of those elements, all of those circumstances, in my mind, that's rock bottom. Right. Like, and I was just saying this, recently, is that, denial, I couldn't afford the luxury of denial any longer, because who the hell could deny the fact that I got locked up? Nobody talks to me. I'm homeless.
Right.
It's like, what the hell can I deny at that point? Nothing. It's like that was long gone. Denial was not even really a thing for me, because I didn't try to start making efforts until it was absolutely undeniable that things are tough and dire, to say the least.
Yeah.
So these days, you've got a relationship with your daughter.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and you have taken down several milestones as far as education goes to help out in the places that you found help. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing. And you're starting a coaching program. Mm-hmm. That's also amazing. I think it's the best use of your energies and your testimony, if you will, because like what we were talking about, it's like people recognize when that other person has been through similar circumstances, obviously not the same, but like when you're talking to a doctor and they don't know, they have no idea, like you can tell them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that's
put the bottle down. Oh, okay. Sure. Put What's wrong with you? I mean, one actually said to me, let me know the next time it comes out of the liquor store and pours down your throat. I'm like, okay.
Oh, you mean like almost like confrontational, like trying to make it sound like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I would say like it was almost like I was time traveling. It was like I'm standing in front of the liquor store. I'm in the liquor store. Don't remember any of that. Next thing I know, I'm in a bathroom, the closest bathroom, and I've got that thing half empty. And I am like, what the hell happened? It's like 10 minutes went by and I couldn't even tell you what was going on. It was like a machine, it's very tough when doctors are like that.
Yes.
But and I'm sure there's some people that cared about you that like what comes to my mind is my grandmother, because she would say the same kind of thing. But in her defense, it's like, what would she know about it? She never drank or did anything. So in her mind, she was just like, why don't you just not do that? And it's tough because with a doctor though, it's a little different. They're supposed to have a little bit more empathy.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
Right. And so, and so are you, which clinic are you working in a rehab or a clinic? Where are you?
Yeah. And I want to say too, on that note, that I have had the opportunity to talk to doctors, recently through that lady that helped me at the hospital, new residents to come in. I have had the chance. She's asked me to come speak to them. So trying to
talk to the doctors actually.
Yes, I know. And some of them are there sometimes when I speak, and I'm pretty vocal about it. And so, yes, but I am working for a rehab facility right now called, I guess I could say, I don't know, it's Gaudenzia, but they have rehabs in Maryland and Pennsylvania. And so I'm on the helpline right now. So I get the calls from the people when they're ready, usually.
Right.
To call. So I help them. I stay with them until I get them, in a place on the phone. I do the whole thing. And so
wow.
That's been really wonderful. I mean, really, I don't have a day where I don't probably tear up. And, when the people talk and they're like, wow, wait, you went through this? And I'm like, oh yeah. When they're saying things to me, I'm like, it's okay. I know I've been there. It's okay. Don't be, worried that I'm going to be like, what? You drank how many bottles? I said,
right.
They're crying and they're, and they're just so happy, that somebody, cares and is listening and isn't judging them,
And then so somebody calls and then you work on placement.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's huge. For people that aren't familiar, that's not always easy. There's not always a ton of resources. And as you had mentioned earlier in this interview, you weren't treated all that great when you ended up in the hospital or wherever you ended up. They didn't treat you that well. Am I right?
Right. No, they didn't.
And that's, and man, that hurts. It does. I know I've been, desperate and they're just kind of looking at you like, okay, well, you did this to yourself. So get out of here. We've got other people to worry about. And it's not that they don't have other people to worry about, but that feeling is quite, it's disheartening. And so for you to be on the hotline and be doing such noble work and handling those phone calls and kind of, buying them a little more time and giving them a little more hope. Mm-hmm. And then also applying some real moves, like a place to go. Yeah. It's huge. That's huge. And so I definitely think that, that what you're doing is moving the needle. Right. Mm-hmm. And it sometimes feels like we're not able to, put a big enough dent in all of this, because it's such a big issue and so many people suffer, but you're clearly doing your part. So, well, that being said, okay, where do people find you? I mean, obviously the hotline is reserved for people,
right?
Other people, but for our listeners, right? Yeah. For the people listening, where can people find you, Jennifer Alai? Where do you prefer they get in contact with you? Maybe they know someone that could really use your help.
Yes, please. Yes, I do have a website, Jen Alai Sober Coach. And through that, you can book time with me. I have free calls, consultation calls. You can book right there. I have a Facebook group as well, Jen Alai, Sober Coach. And I'm getting more active on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. So I'm starting more active on there with, videos and talking about different, tips and habits and, whatever I can do to reach out and help. So, those are probably the best ways to find me. And, you
That's
can
awesome.
direct message me, on social media. The call's confidential. It's free,
Yeah. Well, that's and I'm gonna have everything in print, so everybody, you don't have to worry about trying to spell ally, because apparently I figured it out myself.
Okay.
But we're gonna get all that information passed along to everybody. And wow, I mean, you pulled an O.J. Simpson in the car. You made a run for it. You turned everything back around. Got your daughter back, which is massive. And so you're making so many serious moves in the right direction, and not just for yourself, but for other people too. And so I commend you on that, and I'd also thank you for that.
Thank you.
Right. All right. So this has been another episode of The Next Fix, guys. Go check out my friend Jennifer Alai. I appreciate your time. See you on the next one.